Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the True Path Entrepreneur, your guide to living your purpose and growing a freedom-based business you love. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein, transformational business coach for current and aspiring entrepreneurs, helping you align with your true purpose so you can help more people, profit with your passion, and have a thriving business you love working on your own terms from anywhere on earth. And today, I'm really excited to be talking to Jean Adrienne. Hey, Jean, how are you?
Hey, Beth.
Jean just got back from a trip to Europe, so hopefully she's not too jet lagged. Thank you for being with us today, Jean, especially after just landing. Jean is the creator of InnerSpeak, a method for clearing ancestral and past life karmic blocks. She's the author of 5 books and 2 decks of metaphysical activation and clearing cards. And her website is jeanadrienne.com. And Jean, that's a pretty short bio. So can you tell people a little bit more about, not only what you do, but how did you get started on this path to, this really cool metaphysical work that you do, which I'm really excited to hear about.
Well, you know what? I think I'm your poster child for creating a business that I can do that is my passion, that fills me with joy, and I can do it from anywhere in the world because I live in Tallahassee, Florida. I work with clients all over the world, and I just got back from London where I was teaching a group of women how to do what I do.
Oh,
so
fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I spent 30 years in the corporate world. I was very successful doing high-tech sales of computer-related stuff, mostly hardware and software. And I enjoyed it. I really did. I can't fault that. It certainly put my kids through college and put food on the table. Not just a little food, but a lot of food. So that was all fine and good. And then when I was in my early 50s, I think I was 52, I had an enlightenment experience that woke me up to my true purpose. Literally, I was driving down the road in a car and I heard a voice, and I had never, ever heard voices before. And it was a man's voice, and he told me basically, short story, that I was done with what I'd been doing up to that point in my life. And of course, me being me, I started arguing with him. I was like, whoa, don't be taking my livelihood away from me unless you've got something better for me to do. Silence. And then he repeated it again, and then I didn't hear from him for a couple of days. And then gradually, I began to get more and more messages about this work, InnerSpeak. And I didn't know that I was a channel. That was so far out in the woo-woo space that I'd never even considered it because I was pretty conservative, corporate. Yeah. And I didn't even know that you're supposed to ask, wait a minute, who am I talking to here? That never even occurred to me. I just knew that when the information was flowing, it felt like love. And I felt like I was in this love bath. And so I went with it. And I didn't find out until the end who I was channeling, where it was coming from, or even how it worked or what I was supposed to do with all this information. And I literally sat in front of a computer for about 3 months and received information every day. And the book is 144 files of information that you access with kinesiology. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I caught a raging cold when I landed in London.
And I love it.
It went away when I got ready to leave, but I'm still got some lingering, pieces of it. So it took me, about 5 or 6 more years to get the courage to leave the corporate world.
Wow.
And part of that lack of courage had to do with health insurance, because I was thinking, if I leave my corporate job, I'm not going to have insurance. But finally, it just got to the point where I was seeing the benefit that my clients were getting, and it just was so jazzed to me to do the work that I couldn't stand it any longer. I had to leave.
I love it. This is such a great story. I love it. A lot of us, like me included, I came from corporate, I went to startups, then I went to entrepreneurship, and now I do coaching in addition to running another business. But I very rarely heard this kind of wake-up call story. Mine was a lot of like death and job loss, ups and downs, and really questioning life. And then all of a sudden being like, screw it, I can't, I don't want to live like this anymore. But this is an amazing one. So
there was job loss involved in mine because when it started coming in,
Mhm.
The universe shut down the company I was working for.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's
That's
why
a
I had
huge
3
sign.
months that I could sit and type,
That's a
because
big sign.
yeah, I was also looking for a job while I
Yeah.
was typing,
Yeah.
but I had time on my hands where I could then, receive the information that I needed.
Yeah. Wow. And so then you've also written books, and
Yeah.
I know these books, one of them, Soul Adventures, Reframe Your World, Conscious Living the New Reality, and another one about empowerment and
Mhm.
reconnecting soul. Can you tell people a little bit more about what that is? And will this help people, does this help people who are trying to come into this purpose? Or, I know there's a lot of viewers who are like, God, I wish I could just channel somebody who told me what to go do with my life. It would just be so much easier than
Well, yeah,
suffering
exactly.
or yeah.
And I wasn't looking for it. But yeah, once I got done writing InnerSpeak, all that came in, I was really enjoying writing. I mean, it kind of
Mm.
opened up my creative channels. So then I thought, well, I'll write my life story. So
Mm.
Soul Adventures is biography. And
Okay.
that was very cathartic for me. It took me about 6 months to write it. And I would write a little bit every day and then just cry a whole bunch, and then write some more and then cry a whole bunch. So it helped me to clear out a lot of the emotional baggage that I had been carrying, for a while. But during all of this time, I was starting to do interpersonal coaching as well as teach workshops. And so a lot of the workshops that I was teaching they were mostly consisting of my own life experiences as I was trying to figure out, what is my true essence? Who am I really?
Mm.
And so, we teach what we need to learn. And so I would offer that to people who are trying to figure out what they want to do. Try to, set a goal for yourself and decide to offer a workshop and teach how you are working on yourself to figure out what is your core value, what is your true essence. Show
Mm.
other people how to do it, because if you're working on it, you can bet your bippy that there are a whole bunch of other people that really would benefit from that information.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned this, because there's a lot of people watching that are, in this path to knowing that something's wrong, or knowing that they're just not feeling, their job anymore, or they feel like something's off, and they know there's something more to life. They know
Mm.
they have a true essence that they haven't found, or they know they have a purpose they haven't found. So do you have any tips for people who are kind of in this, back and forth? And I know a lot of them are in jobs they don't like, or,
Mm-hmm.
they dream of something else, and they just think like, oh no, I'm not, I can't get there. But any tips for, practical tips that people can implement to
I'm gonna tell you what I did.
yeah.
Because I was feeling that way as well. Even though I enjoyed my job, I really wanted to move into the other one and didn't quite know how to do it. But you have to figure out who you really are and what you really believe. That's really the bedrock that you can build your new lifestyle on. And what I did was I got a legal pad, just a standard yellow legal pad. And I realized that most of the stuff that I believed or that I thought really didn't come from me, and most of it was bogus as far as I was concerned. They were belief systems. They were BS.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started writing down everything I believed. It took me about 2.5 weeks to go through this process, and I literally filled a complete legal pad with beliefs, belief, 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 belief.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to make it as a healer.
Mm-hmm.
Money's the root of all evil. I mean, they just random stuff, and I
Yeah.
wrote them all down. So then I went back through the list, and in the left-hand margin of the legal pad, I wrote, who taught me this? Where did this
Mm.
come from? And some of them I couldn't remember, but a lot of them, just like rang out like, loudspeakers. Okay, this came from mom. This
Mm-hmm.
came from Aunt Lil. This came from my 3rd grade teacher. This came from Sunday school, and I would write all them down if I could come up with where they came from. And I made a distinct effort to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
then the last pass was to take a black magic marker and sit with each one of the beliefs that I had written there and decide, is this still appropriate? Does this still mean something for me or not? And if it was not, and it got X'd out. At the end of the day, out of that full legal pad, I had like 14 beliefs that I knew were mine,
Mm-hmm.
that I completely believed, and that if reality that surrounded me wasn't in alignment with those beliefs, and I didn't want to play. So I had a pretty good handle on who I was by getting rid of a lot of the stuff that wasn't me.
Yeah.
So that's
I
a
love
great
that.
place to start.
That's a great exercise. That's like someone told me many years ago when I was starting one of my other businesses. Oh, because my mind just kept thinking worst case scenario, worst case scenario. They're like, just write it all down. I was like, okay. And I was down to like, okay, plan Q. If all else fails, I'm going to move to Vietnam and live off the land, or whatever it was. So I love those writing exercises, and you're right. It's like, a lot of, really drilling down these beliefs that are stopping us. Yeah. And this is actually going to be my next question. So I know you do, your method of InnerSpeak is really kinesiology based. And I know, I'm sure there's a ton of people that don't know what kinesiology is.
Muscle testing.
This
one.
I love it. I actually work with someone who does something very similar, and I've seen really amazing benefits. But can you tell people a little bit about it? And then also, like, how much are we actually really blocked by something that's so deep? Like, I actually had a past life block that I almost didn't believe, but it took almost 2 years to clear with multiple different modalities, and I cleared it. And I could feel a huge shift in my life ever since I cleared it. And I was like, whoa. But how do you explain this to people? And do we all have some of the stuff to work through?
We all do. Yeah. Because, we've been around this block a lot of times, and right there is the reason why a lot of people are stuck, and they go to a therapist, and they can sit and talk for months and months and months and maybe see tiny little shifts. But the problem is that traditional therapy doesn't necessarily take into consideration something that may have happened to you 10 lifetimes ago, or that you might have decided out of a sense of loyalty, albeit a misplaced sense of loyalty, that you really loved your grandmother, and so you would process all of her life lessons for her. Okay, that's what were you thinking there, right? So these are things that you need like a tangential way to get to the true cause of the things that hold us back. And my belief is that you can only really clear them and release them permanently if you can go to the place where you created them. There's a technology, and I don't really know much about it, so I'm really talking out of school, but there's something called access consciousness, and they have a little sentence that they say, it's called POC and POD, point of creation, point of destruction. And that's all I know about it. But you got to go to the point of creation if you're going to release it and let it go. So what my work does, and it sounds like the person that you work with, my book is a protocol of 144 files of information. Each file is either a sentence, a word, or a phrase. And I use muscle testing, and I don't actually pull on the arm like this because most of my clients are all over the world. So I can't touch their arms, but I muscle test. I set the intention that I'm surrogating for them, and I muscle test my own energy. Show me what's yes, show me what's no. Same as if I was pulling on the arm, and let their soul say, okay, Beth needs to know this piece of information on this page and that piece of information on that page. And then it pulls together a healing story that gives you a frame of reference for clearing the block. And then it says, okay, these are the things you need to do to clear. And then we're done. And at the end of one session with me, 95% of people have released the block that was holding them back. So my goal is to work with a person one time, have them have such a good experience that they tell 2 of their friends, and maybe or maybe not, I need to work with them ever again. And when they ask me, well, how will I know? I'll say, you'll just hear that little inner voice that will tell you to call Jean, and that's how it works. And that's how I've built my business over the years to a place that supports me in the lifestyle that I've become accustomed to.
That's amazing. I know. This is amazing. I know it's funny. Like, you asked who I work with. I'm like, well, she's in Canada. Like, I know she's, she came through people exactly as you built your business. She's friends and people have worked with her, and but I've never met her in real life. It's great what we can do with technology these days. But
exactly.
People, I love what you're teaching, and I'd like to go a little bit deeper. Now, you talk about things like raising consciousness, and this has been mentioned a few other times in this interview series. because, as a business coach, I like to say I teach 50%, the masculine action, marketing, sales. And then 50% of it is a lot deeper than that. It is about vibration, your thoughts, your mindset, who you're hanging out with, what your intentions are, what your mission is. But talk a little bit more about, for the people that maybe don't know, or people who hear it but don't really get it, like, what is raising consciousness, and how are we all contributing to this right now?
Well, I like to think that each of us at the soul level is a little information gathering magnet. That I think we come here and incarnate on planet Earth to experience as much as we can. And as we do that, we pass that information back to God, the divine mind, whatever you want to call it. It's that huge soup of consciousness that we're all connected into. And we share that information, and we do some pretty crazy things to gather information. Sometimes we allow ourselves to be involved in loss or pain or suffering because we want to see what that feels like at a soul level. And then we put that information up into consciousness, the cosmic, so that this divine mind, the Akash, or whatever you want to call it, expands and expands and expands. And so by letting go of things that hold us in lower consciousness, and primarily that's fear. And fear has many, many faces. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's grief, a lot of it's shame and humiliation, anger, rage, but they all boil down to fear. It says in the book Course in Miracles that there are only two true emotions. One is love and one is fear. So if you're not feeling big love, then you've slid into the other one. And it is what holds your consciousness down. So I think all of us are really trying at this point in consciousness to reach a place of freedom where we are not bound by the past, by history, by the fears of mass consciousness and the fears of our own consciousness. So I think that's really the goal that most of us are working on, either consciously or unconsciously, to get past fear and move into empowerment, personal empowerment.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason I'm doing this series and why I asked you to speak, because this is like, you probably see this all the time. This is one of the number one things I see with clients, is really like the fears just holding us back from really fulfilling this deeper mission, really, changing people's lives, and really ultimately humanity, the planet, everything.
Exactly.
I could talk to you for hours, but I have a few more questions about, I'd like to know a little bit about the DNA thing. Like, I know you, and it's crazy because this is about business and purpose, but I just find this really interesting. What do we know about what I only know as DNA activation, and how can this help us in this path to, step into our true purpose, really get out there, in love versus fear? Is there a purpose to this whole DNA thing?
Yeah, there is actually. And, I think medical science for sure, doesn't really know very much about DNA. I mean, they think that we've got 2 strands that they're pretty sure about, but the rest of it they consider to be junk. And I don't know about you, but the God I'm tapped into didn't make no junk. So, I think that there's a little bit of a misplace there. And again, the same guys that brought me InnerSpeak also started talking to me about DNA. And they said that we actually have 144 strands of DNA that we can have access to. And each of those DNA strands ties to a level of consciousness or a gift that can be activated. And all we have to do is ask for it. And that at one point in time in the human species, they say that we did have 144 strands, but we gave them lovingly away to help others. And we didn't realize that when we did that, we were giving away our gifts. So I was told that I had a job if I wanted it, kind of like Tom Cruise. Here's your job if you choose to accept it. And if you don't want it, you better throw those sunglasses away because they're going to blow up. But they, we'll just do this one. Okay. So they said that there are energetic glyphs that you can draw. that will activate these latent strands of DNA. And the one that I pulled is called relationship. What it says is you can see where you are relative to everyone and everything else. New doors open to you as you understand your oneness with all that is. And by looking at this glyph and just asking and intending that the energy of this DNA strand be activated for you, it is. That's all there is to it. So you can reactivate all of your DNA strands, and there may be more than 144. I don't know. Those are all the ones I'm aware of. But it's all done by intention. You don't have to jump through hoops anymore, bend over, touch your toes, touch your nose, spin around 14 times. No, you just ask. And, and the universe's answer to every question is always yes. So if you ask, it can be done. And once you do it, then your consciousness is raised organically, but DNA also has a life of its own. And you can use your DNA to assist you in conscious creation. All you've got to do is ask that all of your DNA in all of your bodies be aligned with whatever it is you're wanting to create. And it's almost like pulling together your own personal little army and letting it help you march forward on your path.
I love that you mentioned this, because I think you're almost, I think, the fourth or fifth person that's mentioned the physical aspects of this, and how, I mean, because we are more than just mind, we are more than just marketing strategies. There's our body, there's our cells, there's everything on a cellular level. I mean, right. I know everything is energy, right? And it is, that's why I really wanted to bring together this series that talks about more than just like, okay, here's how you sell, here's how you start a business, here's how you market. But no, it's really, like you just said, intention goes really far down to the cellular DNA level.
Right.
And I think I've been doing this DNA activation now for probably 2 years and on and off. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I use intention and hope for the best. And
you get the best.
Working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is a holographic universe, as above, so below. So if you have a soul, then it stands to reason that every cell of your body has a soul. And if you ask for that level of support from your body at the cellular level, then you will get it.
Yeah. And that's, this is the whole point of this, is really to encourage people like, hey, yeah, you go learn how to run a business, go get the marketing, the sales, whatever it is. But then, yes, like you just said, ask for the help, ask for the support, really the intention, the inner work, because like you just said, it's a holographic universe, and we can essentially create anything we want. And don't let that fear hold you back from creating what it is that you're here to do, or what your soul wants on a deeper level. I love this. I love that you teach this. I could talk to you for 5 hours here. But tell people a little bit more about, so the free gift in the series that you're offering all the listeners is an InnerSpeak for Everyone ebook. Can you tell people a little bit more about what it is and how it will help them?
It's going to teach you how to do muscle testing. And it's just got a little tiny snippet of the file structure of InnerSpeak. So you can do sessions on yourself to clear out stuff. So it's all in the book, how to do it. It's fairly well laid out, I think, so that anybody can do it.
Oh, fun. And tell people a little bit more about where to find you, what all you offer, anything you have upcoming. Like, this work is so cool and interesting. I love it.
So my website is jeanadrienne.com, JeanAdrienne.com. And on my website, you can find out I do a TV show every Monday where I interview authors of spiritual uplifting books, usually brand new books that have just come out. So, you can find out who I'm going to be talking to, and just avail yourself of a little bit more information in that respect. You can get your own copies of the DNA cards as well as the InnerSpeak cards. And you can find out about upcoming classes. I don't have anything right now between now and the end of the year, but you can find out about those things as well.
Cool. This is so much fun. I really love that you're teaching this. And, I know I'm a firm believer in this work you're doing, because I have seen amazing and crazy unexplainable benefits from this. And it's so true. The body doesn't lie. We all hold so much that's beyond our, beyond our mental capacity to even understand it. But you know what? Hey, I believe it. I know it works. And I'm really glad you're out there teaching this. And thank you so much for sharing all this. Your story is so inspirational to so many people watching.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And yeah, everybody be sure to grab her free gift, your free ebook. And actually, you can do this kinesiology on yourself. I actually have a friend who runs her business muscle testing.
Uh-huh.
Like, should I do this or this? Okay, I'll do that.
That's right.
So yes, everybody give it a try, and I will see you tomorrow on the True Path Entrepreneur for more interviews. Thanks.